The Gerblin's been swinging a hot bat of late, 7 for his last 15. Here's the 2-1. Deep to left. That ball is gone. The crowd loves it. I've never heard this much generic goblin noise.
Hey gang, just to let you know, you can now use the promo code MTGMudsta, all caps, at flipsidegaming.com and originalmagicart.store. Using the code gets you 10% off orders $10 or more, and you get to help out the channel at the same time. I also want to let you guys know that Flipside Gaming is doing another giveaway, this time for a box of Ultimate Masters. Anyone who uses my promo code MTGMudsta for orders over $10 or more will be entered to win. There's 1 entry per person, so I wish you good luck, and please be sure to let me know what box topper you get when you win. Happy holidays everyone, and if you're not celebrating, I just hope you're having a great day. In today's bonus game, I'm playing Tatyova, keeping an exotic orchard, negate, 2 islands, a forest, abundance, and a retreat to Coralhelm. Matt is taking a Scarab God deck out, keeping Grave Titan, Cryptghast, Grave Crawler, Tainted Isle, 2 swamps, and an island. Mike, who played that mean Hate Bear deck, is playing his Locust God deck, keeping 3 islands, Grim Monolith, Consecrated Sphinx, Counterspell, and Brawl. Lastly, Tyler, who you might remember from before, is playing Daretti, keeping Chaos Warp, 2 mountains, Lodestone Golem, Mindslaver, Chandra Flamecaller, and Arch of Arazka. Tyler wins the die roll, and he starts us off. Tyler plays a mountain, and passes. I play a forest, and I pass to Matt. Matt plays a swamp, and passes to Mike. Mike plays an island, and Tyler plays a mountain, riveting stuff. I play a forest, and I pass. Matt plays an island, and passes. Mike plays a mountain, and casts Grim Monolith, thank goodness. Tyler plays an Arch of Arazka, and then pays 3 to cast Wheel of Fortune. We all discard, and draw 7. At the end of Tyler's turn, I cycle my newly drawn Tranquil Thicket for a card. I pay 2 to cast a Nature's Lore to go and find a forest card, and before searching to save some time, I play Simic Growth Chamber, bouncing a forest and passing to Matt. Matt drops a swamp while Tyler looks through my graveyard. Matt then casts a Demonic Tutor, and he passes turn. Mike plays an island, and he taps the Monolith to cast a Soul Ring. He then uses the remaining floating mana, tapping his Soul Ring and 2 lands to cast the Locust God, passing to Tyler. Tyler plays a Thespian Stage as his land for turn, and we see a Toper Orb hit the field. I play an island for my turn, and I tap out to cast Tatyova. I then pass to Matt. Matt plays a swamp, and taps out to cast a Vengeful Dead. Mike draws for turn and gains an insect token. He then plays an untapped Steam Vents, taking 2 damage, and he casts a Dak Faden. He then upticks his Walker, drawing 2 and discarding 2, gaining 2 more hasty insect tokens. Moving to combat, Mike swings 2 insects at Matt for 2. Tyler plays an Inkmoth Nexus and pays 4 to cast Daretti. Tyler then downticks Daretti, swapping the Toper Orb for the Spine of Ishsa, and as it enters, he blows up Mike's Dak Faden. I draw for turn, and I cast Zendikar's Royal. I then play a Wooded Foothills, gaining 1 life, drawing a card, and gaining a 2/2 elemental token. I then pass while looking for an appropriate token. Matt draws for turn, and plays Temple of the False God. He then pays 3 to cast a Phyrexian Altar. Matt then casts Gravecrawler from his graveyard, and with the spell in the stack, I sacrifice my Wooded Foothills to go and find a land. I grab a forest, gaining 1 life and drawing a card. Matt then sacrifices the Gravecrawler to the altar, gaining 1 black and dealing 1 to all of his opponents with the Vengeful Dead. With the Dead's trigger on the stack though, Mike casts Rapid Hybridization to blow it up. This has us all lose another life from the Vengeful Dead's trigger, and with nothing else, Matt then casts an Entomb and passes to Mike. Mike draws for turn and gains an insect token. He plays a City of Brass and then casts Tezzeret the Seeker. Mike upticks Tezzeret to untap his mana rocks and is then able to pay for Windfall. We all discard and then draw 8 cards as I have the largest hand with 8. This means Mike gains 8 more insect tokens, bringing him up to a total of 12. Moving to combat, Mike swings 1 insect at Daretti, 3 at me, and 2 at Matt. Tyler plays a Darksteel Citadel and casts a Mind Stone. He then drops a Voltaic Key, and finally brings out a Mirage Mirror. I draw for turn, and I play a command tower, drawing a card and gaining a life from my commander's trigger. I gain another boar token, who's standing in as my elementals. I then cast a Seedborn Muse, and I take a minute to look up the ruling on Overburden. Sadly, it's been errated so that it doesn't trigger on token creatures, so I wouldn't be able to set Mike back much at all. I decide not to cast it, and instead bring out Trade Routes. I then pass to Matt. Matt untaps, and so do I. He plays a Sunken Hollow and casts a Diregraph Colossus, who comes in with 7+1/+1 counters. Matt sacrifices the frog to gain a mana, and he recasts his Gravecrawler. I respond to the spell in the stack by tapping my Simic Growth Chamber and pay 1 twice to the trade routes, pitching 2 lands and drawing 2 cards. I then discard another land to draw another card, and the spell then resolves. Matt then sacrifices the Gravecrawler to the altar for 1 black, and recasts the Gravecrawler, and does this 1,000 more times, with each time giving him a 2/2 zombie token from the Diregraph Colossus. Matt then casts a Dimir Signet in his second main phase, and he passes turn. Mike draws and gains another insect token. He then plays an Eldrazi Monument in his main phase, and it resolves. He then untaps his rocks with Tezzeret, and moves to cast Argent. I see this as ending poorly for us all if it resolves, so I move to cast an Arcane Denial to counter it. Mike lets it get countered, and he then casts an Impact Tremors, taking 1 from the City of Brass. Moving to combat, Mike then swings 7 of his insects at Matt for 14 points of damage, and he passes to Tyler. I draw 1, and Mike draws 2 on Tyler's upkeep, and Mike gains 2 more insect tokens and deals 2 to all of his opponents from Impact Tremors. In Tyler's main phase, he casts an All Is Dust, which has Matt sacrificing all 1,002 of his zombie tokens to float some black mana, if only mana burn were still a thing. Tyler then passes, and at the end of turn, Mike returns the Locust God to his hand. I pay 7 in my main phase, and I recast Tatyova. I play an Alchemist's Refuge, gaining 1 life and drawing 1 card. I then pass to Matt. Matt plays an island, and he brings out his commander, the Scarab God. With nothing else, he passes to Mike. Mike has to sacrifice a creature to his monument or he'll lose it, so he responds to the trigger on the stack, and casts Chaos Warp to shuffle it into his library. He shuffles, and then reveals the top card. This has him flipping Laboratory Maniac, which isn't bad, but is not great with the current board state. Mike then plays an island and passes turn. Tyler draws for turn, and he casts a Masterpiece Combustible Gearhulk in his main phase. He picks Mike, who lets him draw 3 cards as he's tapped out, and Tyler then passes. I draw for turn, and I play Temple of Mystery, scrying 1 and bottoming it, then drawing and gaining 1 life. I then cast Lightning Greaves and put them onto Tatyova and pass to Matt. At the end of my turn, Matt embalms his Vengeful Dead with the Scarab God. Matt scries and keeps a card on top, dealing 1 to all of his opponents with the Scarab God trigger. He then plays a Swamp and activates the Scarab God to embalm the Diregraph Colossus. Matt then tries to cast a Gravecrawler, and I respond by casting Brainstorm. I draw 3 and put 2 back, but can't find a Dissipate. Mike then remands it back to Matt's hand, also hoping to find an answer as he draws to either the Gravecrawler or the altar, but his draw is unsuccessful. Matt then recasts the Gravecrawler, while I cast Unsubstantiate, to bounce the Vengeful Dead token back to Matt's hand, thinking I've saved the day. Matt sacrifices it to the altar for 1 mana, and the crawler then resolves. Sadly, Matt then activates his Scarab God and embalms a Diregraph Captain, which puts us back exactly where we were. And, as he's able to go through his combo, closes out the game for him as he combos off. Game review time. So that was a bit of a quick one, and it certainly highlights the need for graveyard hate. There was definitely a lot of pressure coming from the top side of the table, with Matt and Mike both having very combo or at least fast decks. I actually think Matt had the win earlier on, they just didn't see the line of play, but he still got there in the end, so I can't really fault him. I also don't want to criticize Mike too much, but he had a giant army of flying insect tokens that were 2/2 and indestructible. I think he should have swung all of them at Matt. I do realize it probably wouldn't have killed him, but it would have put him to a much more manageable position, and I could have swung at him with my elementals and Tatyova to hopefully take him out. I also think the Chaos Warp on his Eldrazi Monument was a bit greedy, since he didn't really have a board to use it anyway, so he could have saved it for an answer for something else. Unfortunately for Tyler, he was playing my Daretti deck and he just didn't hit any of my fast mana. In a normal scenario, having resolved at least 2 wheels would mean that his graveyard is full of good stuff, but he wasn't able to recast Daretti and protect him to be able to abuse and manipulate his graveyard in such a way that Daretti loves to do. My Tatyova deck was just a hot pile of flaming garbage and it didn't really do anything. I've played her a few times and she's really just not my cup of tea. If I'm looking for a land-based deck, I'm probably going to stick with Titania. Drawing cards and gaining life is great in EDH, but it's a bit too linear for my taste. So I'll leave Tatyova to people who know what they're doing, like Kirsten. Please be sure to tune in every Monday and Thursday at 11 AM Eastern Standard Time for a guaranteed new video. You can also follow me on Twitter at MTGMudsta. You can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/MTGMudsta. And lastly, you can check me out when I stream at twitch.tv/MTGMudsta. This video is brought to you in support by my patrons. If you're looking for a way to help out the channel, please be sure to visit the link below. Thank you all for watching this video, and don't forget, friends are just opponents you haven't eliminated yet.